Hello, David.
Hi.
So I want to explore the idea behind the repertoire, what people might receive in the way of an experience because of the repertoire you picked. Tell us a little bit about what kinds of pieces we're going to be listening to.
Well, there's almost always juxtaposition in our programs. We have music of varying, contrasting, sometimes shockingly contrasting styles, and this program certainly includes that. We've got this incredibly mystical piece by Oladiello, which is called Dark Night of the Soul, a text by St. Paul of the Cross, St. John of the Cross. But then we also have spirituals. And we have spirituals that are juxtaposed with some of this mystical musical language. And the spirituals provide such an important thing for us to learn as people of God, because the slaves, there can be no worse context, really, than what they were living in, and how they coped with that through these songs, sang to each other, gave each other strength. Even gave signals to each other about the train, the Underground Railroad, through singing the spirituals. But the thing that's important for us is that what they held on to was that understanding of the peace of God that nobody could take away from them, and that really ultimately would come to fruition in death, that they would be totally free, and they weren't afraid of that. And that gave them the strength to carry on, to live. And that's what they call the Black Spirit, the liberation theology, that we are so boxed in by various facets of life. And we can learn how to be free. I think that's what Jesus meant when he said he came to give abundant life, is how do we be free? And the spirituals do that. But there's so much joy in the spirituals. And to imagine joy coming out of a context of slavery is just mind-boggling.
And suffering, really.
Yes, but yet still, glory, hallelujah. And that's what we can learn. And
there's you say the juxtaposition of this mystical music and spirituals, and what's ringing in my ears about spirituals is the rhythmic regularity, how it's very, very rhythmic. And mystical sort of elicits the idea that there is long sustained and sort of clouds of tonality and beautiful sounds, but they don't have a rhythmic. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's kind of like with the spirituals. I think I always use the image with the choir of the sledgehammer hitting the spikes in the chain gangs that built the railroad, and the rhythm of that kind of driving the lilt of the spirituals. And then juxtaposed to that is this piece, Dark Night of the Soul, which is more like mist and smoke in the air, suspended without anything holding it down, and just kind of moves freely about. Freely. That's what it's about.
Freedom, liberation.
Yes.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
Between those two. And so you intersperse them all the way through the program. What is the name of the piece that is this long, the larger piece again?
That's Dark Night of the Soul.
Now that is broken up, or is that done as a complete composition?
It has sections in it that change partway through, but it's very mystical. The text is almost incidental. You aren't knocked over by the words as we sing it. It's kind of like clusters of things that float. Kind of musical incense in the air is what it really is. And it moves from one mood to the next. And what I think of is somebody in awe, staring in one direction, and then gently closing her eyes and looking another and seeing another image. And then that comes into the picture for a couple of pages of our music. I suppose it'd be some time for the people sitting in there. And then we come back to the other image, but none of them ever feel long. You just want to sit there and bask. And that's what he does musically. It's just incredible.
Excellent. Thank you.